I think as fathers, the best example that we can set for them is the living example of how to function as a man, right? How to function as a father, how to function as a husband, and be consistent with it, because even when we don't think they're watching, bro, they're watching.
Man, we are on. Let me tell you, man, Mike, man, this has been real just trying to get
Dude,
on.
dude,
So
listen, this technology is nuts, man.
So
There it
listen,
is.
everybody, is it delayed?
It's delaying it, man. But hey, let's roll. Let's roll.
Man, I tried to tell these dudes, man. So listen, this is the heart of the Father podcast show. I'm talking, but I realize my image is delayed. I don't know if you could even hear me. Can you hear me, Mike?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Hey, look, I don't know how you smiling with your mouth closed and talking at the same time, man. Hey, you showing off your ventriloquist skills right now, Doc. You showing off some skills right now, man.
Bro, listen. So this is what happens. This is what happens when Shon decides to go and do what fathers do and go watch his daughter play soccer.
Oh man. Hey, this you showing a side of you that people probably didn't know exists, dude. Like right now, you saying something, but nothing is coming out.
Nothing's coming out.
Oh man. I love it. I love it.
Look, Mike, can you hear me now, bro?
I can hear you, bro, but your ventriloquist skills are like on point.
Yeah, y'all. I apologize, man. I think I'm laughing while I'm talking, so it's gonna get real. I just need y'all to know that this is not how it normally goes. This is a fatherhood podcast, and I got my boy Mike Lewis on.
Oh man,
you know what I'm saying? I'm praying you guys can hear me.
dog. Hey, we gonna make
Mike,
it work.
So Mike, what's up, man? How you doing, brother?
Man, listen, I'm alive and well, man. I have zero complaints, man. I'm actually excited. Really, man. I'm excited. I'm honored to be on here with you tonight, man, and even more deeply honored that Shon um gave me a call and asked if I would jump on, man. So it's I'm good, man. I'm good, dude. No complaints at all.
Well, I appreciate that. So what I want you to do, Mike, despite the fact that my body is moving and it doesn't align with my words, bro.
I'm gonna just respond to the voice. How about that?
That works. So listen, everybody. I know you might be wondering where Shon is at, and I know I said it earlier, but man, Shon is doing what we do best when it comes to being fathers, and that is at his daughter's soccer game, watching her play. So again, we want to definitely shout out Shon and just encourage his daughter as as she completes and or continues to play the game of soccer. So
Yeah.
Shon, man, we miss you, and I know right now you gonna have all kind of jokes based on what is happening today. So it's officially me, Shon. It's officially me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Hey, I'm pretty sure we about to get that work for real.
You even sound like him. Get that work.
Yeah, man. I've been around him long enough. I already know what's coming.
Man. So listen, Mike, one of the things, man, when me and Shon originally came together to do this podcast, one of the things that we really wanted to do was that we just didn't want to create a podcast that had a lot of things to do with just, talking about what to do as a father. We really wanted to find a way to create some dialogue around fatherhood and manhood and the challenges that, men face, definitely in our communities. And so, as we kick this off, Mike, man, it'd really be important for the audience to kind of get, learn a little bit more about you. I know from speaking to Shon, man, that you come from a blended family. Yeah. So, I'm really interested in kind of learning from you a little bit about, what does it mean to raise be involved in a blended family as a father, and how has that impacted you as a man as well?
Well, man, let me first say this again, man. I appreciate you guys, bringing me on on this podcast tonight, man. Like this is a much needed uh thing that you guys are doing, man, because I was with a group of men couple weeks ago, and one of the things that I was sharing with them was, it's really hard for us as men to be able to like come together, convey ideas, or really just express, what I mean, what we as men go through. And I think this false fallacy or facade that as men we need to kind of bottle things up. You know what I mean? And so this platform that you guys have, man, really just opens up the door for a lot of men to really just share what us as men go through. And so again, man, I tip my hat off to you and Sean for doing this, man, and being as consistent as you guys are, man, because it is definitely impacting a lot of men. And as a result of impacting men, you guys are impacting a lot of families. You know what I mean? And so it's, man, hats off to you guys, man, for real. Um, so a little bit about me. You see, I keep looking out the window over here, right?
Yeah,
So a little bit
yeah.
about me, man. I am a obviously a husband. I'm a father. Um, my wife and I, man, we have a blended family. We have a family of over 8 children, dude. And like the amazing thing about that is I tell people there was never a dull moment in our home, man. I had I was married before. I had 3 children from a prior marriage, and then when things happened that didn't work out, and so I got married again. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna tell you this, man. I learned so much from that experience about myself, to the point that when I was ready to marry again, I knew that I was the man that was qualified. If you will, I tell people all the time, man, I had to become qualified to be married to the woman that I'm married with now, or married to now,
Come on,
man. And
man.
um,
So first of all, you can't just drop that on us, man. What does it? That's a
yeah, yeah,
nugget. When you say qualified,
yeah.
what does that even mean, brother?
I mean, I was in this place, man, where I was very selfish, in the beginning,
Mm,
man, extremely selfish. I wanted what I wanted. I thought I could just do whatever I wanted to do and still just live life, man. And I'm not saying by a long shot that I was out there just like acting a fool, but there was some decisions that I made that contributed to the demise of that first marriage, man. And the thing is, once I became aware of the part that I
mm,
played in that, then it allowed me to grow as a man first, right? It allowed me to understand, okay, this is what you contributed to it, and this is why this is the way it is, right? And so when I learned from that, man, I made sure that before I walked into this again, that I fixed those errors, right? Like Jim Rohn
man.
says, we correct the errors of the past and pick up new disciplines for the future. You know what I mean? And so I had
Mm,
to I had to correct those things within myself to be qualified to actually have a wife. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, man, it's just like, man, as men, I think we minimize the strength of a
mm.
wife. You know what I mean? Like, dude, they, if we're paying attention, bro, they school us, dude. So I had to be qualified, man, to be the husband to the wife that I have. And what I was not prepared for, though, right? To go into your question, what I was not prepared for was the dynamics that came along with having a blended family, right? Because again, you're talking about 2 different households, right? You're talking about bringing a plethora of history and experiences together, and now you're bringing them into one roof and trying to make it work. And man, I wasn't ready for it, dude. I was not ready for it, man. Like we raised our children a certain way. She raised her children a certain way, and then when we bring those in the house, we just like like it was like, bro, you talking
Yeah.
fire. It was crazy, man. So but I learned a lot. You know what I mean? I think more than anything, I learned how to adapt to so many different personalities. You know what I mean? Because again, dude, like our oldest he'll be 22 in November, right? He has one child, another one on the way, and then I have another grandbaby by our daughter. And man, it's amazing, man, to see how what you think your children are not listening to at an early age, like as they get older, you start to hear those things come out, and it's just like, man, like you put me through all of this he double hockey sticks, and all this time you were paying attention to it. But no, man, it was exciting, bro, to say the least. It really was, man, because again, you have so many different dynamics there, right? And then again, you have the other parents that have their way of teaching. And it was almost like whenever our children would come back into our home, bro, we had to like literally retrain all over again. Not saying that their training was bad, right? It's
Right.
definitely not saying that. It was just the way we did things together was different than the way that they would experience things in the other home. And so it was a lot of clashing, a lot of, oh my goodness, bro. Like it was a lot of
Man.
clashing. You know what I mean? And it's just countless nights, man. I'm sitting back and I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, did I make a mistake? Like
Yeah.
this
For
is
real.
crazy, bro. But
Mm,
again,
that's-
it made me into the man that I am today, man. I don't regret it. I don't regret it
Yeah.
one bit, man. It's been extremely, extremely beneficial, learning experience. And our youngest is 6 and 7 now, and
Okay.
just to see like literally the merger of all those personalities into two little human boys, dude, it's like it's
Wow.
crazy, man. So I love it though. I love it, man.
So there's so many questions I got for you, man. One of the first questions I think, man, that really stands out for me that I think is really important. A lot of the work I do work with dads that are bonus dads, and I've
Mm,
been trying to move away from saying stepdad to
yeah,
bonus dad because I language is so important.
yeah,
One of the common things that come up, man, with working with young men who have a bonus dad is the issue of like who becomes the man of the house,
yeah.
right? So can you speak to like what how did you how did you establish your role as the man in the house? Because that's a very tough space for a lot of men who find themselves in relationships with women who have children. Like
Yeah.
how do you move into that space where she trusts you enough to take on that role? Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, man. I think there was really two things that stayed on the forefront of my mind at all times. Number one, I wanted my children to see how a man husband treats his wife, right?
Mm,
And so I always became very intentional about how I speak to her, how I love on her, how I just admire her. You know what I mean? Like I was very intentional about that because in my mind, I'm saying, man, I have young boys that's going to grow up and have wives one day or girlfriends one day, and I want them to see as a living example on what it looks like to respect a woman, number one, but then when you have that significant other, how to respect them, right? And so one of the things that I instilled in them was that she was number one, right? And that
wow.
was that was hard for you know uh my biological children. That was very hard because again, we go from just us to
Yeah.
now you're saying she's number one, right? And so I would
Yeah.
have to periodically help them to understand what I mean by that because again, my obligation as a the head of the home, if you will, is it has to be to my wife, right? It has to be to my wife. But as a result of being there and being a husband to my wife and being a provider and protector for my wife, by default, my family falls under that umbrella, right? And
Right.
so that was the first thing, really, just helping them to understand that this is how you function as a man. This is how you treat
Mm,
your spouse. This is how you treat or your wife as a man. The second thing was very early on in our marriage, bruh. Like we made the decision that she was going to discipline
Wow.
Yeah, she would do the discipline, the disciplining of her three children prior to our marriage, and allow the father to be the disciplinary of those children, right? And vice
Wow.
versa. It was tough because I wanted, like you just said, I didn't want the mindset that, okay, you just a bonus daddy. You know what I mean? You just, like, you can't tell me what to do kind of
Right.
thing, and vice versa. I didn't want my children to look at her as just, oh, that's just stepmom, right? I wanted them to respect her as a mother figure in their lives, right? And it took a while, right? It took a while for that to
Man.
happen, man. But it was just that, it was that awareness that regardless of what it looks like, one day you're going to be in this position, right? And
Right.
it's amazing, bro, because even to this day, my oldest son calls me, and if you hear that noise in the background, the kids in there getting some ice. But even to this day, man, my oldest son calls me all the time, and he's just consistently telling me, "Thank you for XYZ," right? Thank you for teaching me this, or I get it now, and I see what you meant by this. And I think for me, that's what I always saw, right? Like, people will ask me all the time, like, how in the world were you able to just stick it out? And because I was always able to see that one day, specifically my sons would be able to practice what they were seeing. You know what I mean? Um, and so that's really what it was. That was like the benchmark for it. Just staying consistent in that, man. And no matter what, they never ever saw me put my hands on my wife. They never heard me
Man.
call my wife out of her name, right? They never saw those things, man. And it makes a tremendous impact into the lives of our children. Sometimes it can be confusing though, right? And the reason that I'm
Absolutely.
saying that, because the world shows them differently, right?
Right.
They're looking on social media and they're looking at, unfortunately, women getting slapped around, and men being taken advantage of, all this stuff, man. And so I think as fathers, the best example that we can set for them is the living example of how to function as a man, right? How to function as a father, how to function as a husband, and be consistent with it, because even when we don't think they're watching, bro, they're watching.
They're watching.
You know what I mean?
They're,
They're watching, man, every step of the way, dude. They are watching every decision, even to the point where y'all sitting down for dinner, bro. They're watching daddy take a moment and bless the food. Like, they're paying attention to that, bro. You know what I mean? It's the smallest things that we probably don't think make a big difference. Like, they're watching
right.
it. You know what I mean? Like, my 6 year old, I
Yeah.
think he was probably 4 at the time, man, when I first noticed that. Like, we're sitting at the table, we're getting ready to, go ahead and smash on these vittles, bruh, and he's just staring at me like a hawk. And I'm looking like,
Mm.
what's wrong with him, dude? And so
Wow.
when I get to praying over the food, my man literally told me, he said, "Daddy, I was waiting on you to pray." And I'm just like, whoa, like 4 years old, dude. I'm just like, ooh. So
Yeah.
they watch. You know what I mean? So that's what it is, man. That's what it
So
is.
Mike, so as I'm listening to you, man, you sound so seasoned, brother. So man, listen, because there are listeners who are gonna listen to this and they're like, man, he got it, he got it. But I also, in knowing seasoning, I also know that in order to get to where you are, you've had to experience a whole bunch of challenges and hurdles along the way. So
Bruh.
one of my questions for you too, bro, is like, how did you one so you said a couple things, man. One, I appreciate the fact that you talked about you and your wife making a decision
Yeah.
beforehand about how you were going to discipline your children. Like
Yeah.
that, I think that's one of the most important things when working with families is to help families understand that they have the authority and the power to make decisions based on what's best for them, right? And
Yeah,
so
man.
I really appreciate that, brother. In addition to that, man, with this level of wisdom that you come with, part of me is asking myself, like, how did you arrive to this level of wisdom? Is this something that you were taught to pay attention to? Like, how did you get to a place where it's like all the things you just described is like, man, this is stuff that is this already in you? Were there some challenges or deficits along the way that pulled you into like really being hyper focused on what you're describing, that men have to be they have to be the model that their children see versus the stuff that the television tells them? Like I'm rambling, but can you just speak to like how did you arrive to this level of wisdom, brother?
Bro, let me say this. To to say that I did not have to go through some things to get to this parts thus far would be a lie. Like I had to go through some heat, bro. Like for real, for real. I really had to go through some things, man. Number one, the divorce was a major shift, a major
Mm,
shifting point for me, because again, not necessarily from the divorce perspective, but what transpired that led to it. You get what I
yeah.
mean? So that in itself was a season of just growth. um I'm grateful to be able to be on this call today and say, man, that I've had a father in my life, right?
Okay.
Um, by the grace of God, man, my parents are still together, right? As a matter of fact,
Okay.
they just celebrated 47 years.
Wow.
So it was very, very challenging for me to go through a divorce because in my mind, bro, like I don't see that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I've only
Yeah.
known for a husband and wife to make it work. You know what I mean? So that was in and of itself, it was a challenge. But um I have mentors, man. In addition
Okay.
to my own father, I've had mentors in my life. I've had and still do. I have a mentor for every area of my life, man. Every area of my life, even to this day. As a matter of fact, Sean is even one of them. Like if
Yeah.
I'm off, dude, like now
Oh
she
yeah.
she doesn't do it, but she knows that she has the ability to say, like, Sean, you need to talk to your boy, right? And Sean has several times been like, yo, you tripping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just having other men to hold you accountable for being a man of integrity, right? Being a man of character, being a man of humility. Um, and then I'm an avid student, man. Like I cannot go a day without feeding what I call my hard drive, dude. I feel like I'm missing something. Like my day is not complete unless I put
Yeah.
something in my mind, right? And
Right.
obviously, the foundation of who I am, bro, is my relationship with God, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I am what I am because of him. You see what I'm saying? And so it's just I don't take credit for that. It's just I'm obedient to who he has called me to be. And then I said this to as a matter of fact, I said this Sunday. I have learned and I'm learning how to listen to the wisdom of my wife.
Wow.
I'm learning to do that, man. Um, that was not an easy thing for me to do, and sometimes I'm gonna just be honest, it's still not extremely easy. But I also understand that my wife hears from God just as much as I do. You see
Wow.
what I'm saying? And so if there's any confirmation or comfort that I need in where I believe I'm going or heading as a man, then I'll always run it by my wife like, hey, what you think? You know what I mean? And so it's a everyday journey, dude. It's an everyday journey. Like Paul said, man, we put ourselves under every single day. Like we put our bodies under every single day, man. And so it's
Yeah.
just I submit to the leadership that I have before me and holding me accountable, man. And again, although the majority of our children are grown, I still understand that they're watching. You know
That's
what I
it.
mean? They're
That's it.
watching, man. It doesn't matter, 20 plus years old, like they're still watching, right?
Yeah.
And in addition to that, I know that indirectly the grandchildren are watching.
Yeah.
Although they're so far away, but they're watching indirectly by how their parents act, right? So if their parents are watching me as their father, then they're watching their parents, right? So indirectly, I what I do affects my entire generation. It
Man.
affects my entire legacy, man. And so I can't afford as a man and as a husband to taint my legacy. You see what I mean? Because that
Yeah.
legacy is necessary to impact the entire world. So I have to stay grounded. I have to have people in my life that's going to keep me on track. And and I got to be willing to listen when they tell me like, dude, you tripping. You know what I mean? So no, man, it's an everyday process, man. Every day, dude.
Mike, I can't, man. Everything you said, you just dropped like 1,000 jewels on brothers, right? Just to be the process. I mean, because it takes a lot, man, to navigate this world, but also to navigate and nurture and support your family,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so for you to be able to speak to that, like the power of what you just said, my wife is my wisdom, like,
Yeah, man.
you know what I'm saying? And there's a stat that talks about men live longer when they're married, you
Mm,
know, and they're partnered. And so one of the other things I work with a lot of young dads, and one of the questions I asked a group of young dads last night is like, what do you need? Like, can you speak to
mm.
some of the things that you might need as a young father? Man, one of the things that blew my mind is when they said, man, we need couples counseling. Now, this is
Wow.
these 17-year-olds
Wow.
saying, I need couple counseling. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so that spoke to me in such a large way because they understand that, oh, if I'm going to get this right, I'm going to have to be able to connect with the woman of my child, right?
Absolutely.
And so, can you speak to yeah, so can you speak very, I know we've got to wrap up soon, but I really want you to speak to, man, to brothers that are on the fence
Yeah.
with proposing or
Yeah.
making that choice, because I also work with moms who say, hey, we've been together for 10 years
Yeah.
and he has yet to propose, he
Yeah.
has yet to commit. And so, can you speak to, how what it takes to arrive to that, and just give brothers that are on that, they're on the cusp, but
Yeah.
it's just that they struggle, they're struggling because they haven't seen what you've seen with your mom and dad, right? They don't
Yeah.
have that, how do I become something I don't see, right? Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, definitely, man. I don't know. It just comes out of me, bro. So I'm gonna say it this way.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I love it.
yeah.
I love it.
So my thing is, again, my foundation of who I am is my relationship with God. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so what I began to understand as a result of becoming this person is that the principle or the scripture that says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor, right? What I realize is that to have a wife positions me to receive favor in a way that just being by myself doesn't qualify me for. Right now, it does not
Mm.
mean that I won't have favor in positioning. It just means now I have a double portion. Right now, in addition to that, though, I also understood that where I knew I was going in my own life, I knew that I could get there not necessarily faster, but I can get there intact when I had a wife.
He said intact.
Intact, right? You
I'm,
see what I'm saying? Because again, man, she keeps me grounded, right? If I truly honor what she's telling me as wisdom, right? So when my wife speaks to me, man, I know that it's in alignment with the vision for the family. Therefore, when I'm hearing from my wife, I don't this probably gonna sound weird to some people, but I really, really want y'all to understand this. When my wife is speaking to me, hold on one second. It's the father part of it. Hey boys, go back upstairs. So
I
when
love it.
so when my wife is speaking to me, man, because I understand that she is aware of the vision and she's my help meet, I understand that she's speaking directly from God, right? So I don't look at it like, oh, this is just some woman trying to stop me from doing something. I'm like, yo, God is speaking through my wife. And so I honor what she's saying to me, right? For anybody that's on the fence about proposing, here's what I would challenge them with. I believe that a man is challenged with proposing because he has yet to identify who he is.
So wait.
Here's what I
I'm
mean.
so mad that
Here,
I'm mad my facial don't line up with my voice. I need you to repeat that, brother.
yeah, I believe a man is on the fence about proposing because he has yet to identify who he is, right? The thing is this, man. When you find a wife, she's going to draw out of you what's not supposed to be there and inspire you to become better. Most men are not ready and willing to change, right? This is why I said that in order for me to have the wife that I have now, I had to be qualified because I had to get some junk out of me and she was able to bring that out, right? Within myself, I was unwilling to deal with that thing because when I look in the mirror, just like, ain't nothing wrong with me, it's everybody else. But she would get you in line, right? So most men straddle the fence with proposing because they don't want to deal with those things. That's just the truth, right? Listen, people ask
So
ask me,
I
yeah, go ahead.
I hear you, but here's another one I'm gonna throw out there to you, just because this is what Shon do to people, right? So what about the brother that's ready, but he's in a toxic relationship with the woman who operates with toxicity, and he
Yeah,
doesn't know who he is, right? But he wants to find that wisdom that you speak of.
yep,
Like, how does he, how might he navigate that? Because that's also that's a real thing that's happening too.
yeah, yeah, no doubt, man. So and it's funny that you say that because I was actually getting ready to go into that. So a lot of people ask me, how was it according to them, right? I got married fairly quickly
Yeah.
after my divorce was final, right? According to them, I got married 2 years after my divorce. The interesting thing about it is what most people didn't understand is that in the process of the separation to the final decree of the divorce, I was working on myself, right? So I'm
Mm.
always putting myself in front of information that's going to make me become better. So I would tell the person again that's in a toxic relationship with the woman is keep working on you. Like if you're trying to fix that person, you gonna crumble, bro. Like you gonna go ballistic. Seriously, you can't change people, but you can change yourself. And one or two things are going to happen. If that woman desires to be a wife, see, man, here's the thing. There's men out here that's trying to make a woman be a wife. You can't
Mm.
make her become a wife. The principle is he who finds a wife. I knew that my wife was my wife now because she was already a wife,
Mm.
right? She already had the
Mm.
characteristics and the things that I was looking for as a wife. And so it wasn't hard for me to locate her because I knew what I wanted in a wife. The problem is a lot of men are trying to transform these women to be wives and they're not ready yet. And it's causing men to go ballistic, even though they may be ready to marry. So the thing is,
Mm.
what I would encourage people to do is work on themselves, continue to work on themselves, and if she is your wife, she's going to become that. But if she's not, then she's going to remove herself. But you can't become so attached where you think that without her, it's not going to work. Because if it's toxic now, bruh, trust me, if you say I do while she still has this stuff in her, it's going to be toxic then as well. You know what I mean? Like we put so much confidence in other people to correct us and not necessarily correct us, but to make us happy and change us that we lose our mind in the process, man. And we can't do that. right? We have to become in order to be. And that's the
Wow.
part that as men, a lot of us don't want to acknowledge. Like we have to become that person first if we're going to be that person. So I had to become a husband, right? That knew how to be faithful. I had to become a husband that knew how to lead his family. I had to become a husband that knew how to provide. I had to become a husband that knew how to show my children how to love your wife both privately and publicly before I was qualified to say I do.
Man. Listen, Mike, I know it's going to be a delay for me scratching my lips because I've already done it already.
Oh man.
Oh my
Hey,
God.
listen. I just know that I'm rocking with the greatest ventriloquist on the planet, bro. I don't care what nobody say.
Mike, man, first of all, you got to come back just because you need to be in this space, man. You
Oh
need to be
wow.
in this space with us, brother. What you just delivered for brothers that are on the fence but want to be married, what you just delivered for brothers who are looking to find a way to create a foundation for their own healing, what you just did for women who are also trying to figure out like how do I land in a space where
Mm-hmm.
I can also arrive to a man, or even and I don't know what our thoughts are about women choosing a partner, because there's this understanding that women don't have they're a woman, so they have to wait to find a man, or those kind of things. They can't be aggressive, and all of these things that we put on relationship and
Yeah.
gender and all of that stuff, right? I think that what you help do for a lot of people, man, is really remind us that we're all really human and we're all trying to figure it out, and none of us are perfect, and that it takes trial and error
Yeah,
to
man.
get to a better place of understanding. And I really appreciate that, man. And I really know that there were some brothers that entered or will hear this podcast, man, and their hearts will be healed because of it. And so, brother, I man, I'm mad that I'm in my car. I'm mad that I don't have my ring light on, but you know what? We didn't let none of that stop us from doing what we needed to do, right? And
Yeah,
so,
man.
brother, I thank you. But before we get up out of here, Shon always has a legit or not legit. And if you got a chance to watch this show, you know. So I'm just gonna put it out there on behalf of Shon, brother. So the legit or not legit, Lewis, is it okay for a man to wear I don't know what we want to call it, a man stomach tuck suit, a man girdle, is that legit, Mike Lewis,
Bro, listen.
or not legit?
listen, listen. You lost me on man girdle, bro. I don't. Listen, man. Um, to each his own. To each his own. But I say this, man.
Nope.
If hey,
You gotta say legit or not
hey,
legit.
let me just say that is not legit for me.
What?
Let me I don't. Hey, I will hit that gym twice a day before I put on a man girdle, bro. I didn't even know they made man girdles, man.
Listen, listen. Let me tell you something. So I got me one. I'm gonna show it in the next show. The next episode,
Oh
I'm gonna
man.
show you my man girdle, and I
Hey,
don't even call it man girdle. I call it my man back support.
hey, well, see, but see, that's different. That's different. Like it's all about perspective, right? So back support, and girdle is two different things. You know what I mean? So, hey, I think you can make a back support work.
Well, listen,
Oh
man,
man.
brother, I appreciate you, man, joining us tonight. Man,
Thank
and
you,
thank you
bro.
for all the jewels you dropped, man. I'm walking away with some lessons that I can also apply to my own personal life, but most importantly, I can take the jewels that you provided, man, and share with the young people that may get the chance to watch this episode, but if they don't, that I can take what you share with me and pass it along to them. So, brother, thanks again. I look forward to having you on the show with brother Shon, and we'll do this thing again next week. Have a good
Man,
night, everybody.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you, man.